I was around 16, getting ready to go out with my mom. I called her from my room, and she answered from the bathroom. The door was ajar, and I saw someone putting on makeup. I asked about the pashmina. She said it was behind her room's door. I got it and called her again. No answer. I went back to the bathroom. The light was still on, but no one was there. I searched the house. Nothing. Then my parents came in. They'd been out, walking the dog. I never knew who I saw, or who answered me, but it was my mom's voice. I wanted to go to a club, but it rained. My heel broke. I was frustrated. Back at home, I lay down, head on a cushion. As I was falling asleep, something moved the cushion. It fell off the bed, leaving my head in the air. My heart raced. I ran out. Never slept in that room again. Before that, I used to have sleep paralysis in there, like something took over my body, immobilizing me, terrifying me. I visited my brother in the ICU. He couldn't talk, pointed to a monitor, gestured he was falling. I didn't understand. That night, my other brother was home. At 2:22 a.m., the TV flew off the table. Same time the brother in ICU went into a coma. He died 2 days later. I never found out what he was trying to tell me. I was 6. I woke up feeling watched. I saw 3 familiar faces at the foot of my bed, but went back to sleep. Then something yanked me so hard I ended up half out of bed. Horrible experience. One night, going from the living room to the bedroom, I closed the door and clearly heard something run down the hallway and stop at the door. The tiles creaked. Luckily, it's the only weird thing that ever happened to me at home. A ghost chased me to the stairs. I cried. I work on crafts late, and around midnight, the windows flew open. I started crying. My mom told me to pray, but I couldn't. We didn't sleep. Since then, I can feel and sometimes see things. One night, I went to the bathroom, left the door open. I looked up. Someone stood in the other room's doorway. Another time, I was in the living room. The dog barked at the hallway. I was alone. Someone later said maybe there was a portal there. People were seen going from room to room. My daughter was under 3, said goblins bothered her. She saw them on the stairs. We told her to say, "Go away, fool." One night she woke up shouting it. We were terrified. My husband prayed, and Aunt said to light some candles and pray. It worked. She never saw them again. I played Ouija with friends. Thought they were joking, kicked them out, played alone. The planchette moved. After that, weird things started happening. I lived alone. The Hat Man appeared. Witches walked on the roof. My kittens disappeared. As teens, we played the glass game in a house where a witch used to live. We flipped an old stove and put the glass on it. It kept moving on its own. My friends cried. I kept the glass from falling. Eventually it did. We ran to church. After that, my friends started seeing strange things and lived in fear. I saw the Hat Man. But what happened to my parents? One sunny day, they saw a shadow walking past the house toward the neighbors. That afternoon, the neighbor died. My mom says they saw death passing by. Years ago, I moved into my grandma's rental house. A friend's uncle had hanged himself there. One night I felt something was coming, but a voice told me to stay calm. I opened my eyes, heard footsteps, but the door didn't open. The mattress was smaller than the bed. 1 foot hung over. I felt hands place my legs correctly and tuck me in. I moved to make noise. It stopped. I never heard the door again. That was it. In 2022, I moved into a friend's house to care for it while she emigrated. For a year, a tall man with a big hat would appear by my bed, try to grab me. Each time, I'd lose something or something broke. I left in 2023 with nothing. Had to rebuild my life. This didn't happen to me, but my husband. Alone at work, he went to wash his hands. He returned to find the box he'd left on the work table on the floor. He had locked up. No one else was there. The silence was deafening. His heart raced. Since I was a child, I've seen things. I feel terrible when energy is heavy. If someone died, I can tell if they left in peace or stayed. They appeared to me and hurt me. I dreamed one tried to take me to the other side. I was scared. I screamed and woke up. Still see it sometimes, but not as often. When I was 5 years old, I woke up in the night and my grandmother was standing at the foot of my bed, wearing a bluish-green skirt and a matching blouse. I remember it was summer and the sky was still light, but not enough to read by, so I guess it was around 9 p.m. I sat up, and she put her finger to her lips. I rubbed my eyes a couple of times because I was sleepy, and when I looked back, she was gone. I just curled up under my sheets, thinking how nice it was to see her, because I hadn't seen her in years, and I hoped she'd still be there when I woke up in the morning. My house was eerily quiet the next day. My mom was worse than usual. She had been crying. So I asked her what was wrong. She told me my grandmother had died the night before. She had been crossing a street after her bingo ended at 8:30 p.m., about 60 miles from where we lived. She had a massive brain hemorrhage in the middle of the street and didn't even make it to the other side. She was wearing a bluish-green skirt and a matching blouse. I was 8 years old when my grandmother died. I was sad, so about 2 months later, I went to my grandmother's house where my grandfather lives. I woke up at 3 in the morning and heard footsteps coming from the bedroom door. So I went to check, and as I stepped out of the room, I froze. I saw my grandmother walking toward me. She said, "Hi, sweetheart," and walked away. It wasn't sleep paralysis because I could move my hands and feet. In the morning, I told my grandfather about it, and he said, "I've seen Grandma almost every night. She likes to visit, so don't be scared the next time she comes by." A friend of mine was taking a photo of herself and her daughter kissing, and in the background, you can clearly see a figure that wasn't there. She had ghost experts come in and check the house, but they found nothing. After some research, they discovered that one of the previous owners had been an undertaker or ran a funeral home or something like that. I've known this girl for years, and I would be completely surprised if she made this up, especially since I saw how upset she was and how much money she spent on the experts. They no longer live there. The one story I have is from when I was in 4th grade. When I was little, I always slept with the door open. I went through a phase where I would wake up every night between 3 and 4 a.m., and every night I heard footsteps coming up the stairs, across my living room, through my dining room, through the kitchen, and down the hallway. They always stopped right in front of my door, then turned around and went back down to the basement. But one night, they didn't stop. What I saw was the shadow of a child, couldn't tell if it was a girl or a boy, walking right in front of my door, staring at me for a few seconds, then turning around and going back downstairs. I slept with the door closed the next night.